Positively Muskegon. If you take a look right there, that is the one and only Matt Dorito from Pop Evil. One of our best homeboys around town. Matt, you're home for a little bit of a break.
Mm-hmm.
Pop Evil, talk about touring life, man. How's it going?
Good. It's funny, I could take a week off and it feels like 3 months.
Does it?
We've had a little bit of time off since Christmas and
Yeah.
New Year and everything, and have most of January, most of February off. And of course, I still come back here and call this home.
I mean, you're on to the new record, which is huge. People are loving it. I'm a fan. You know that. Everywhere you guys go, you're growing and getting bigger and bigger. Did you ever imagine?
Yeah, of course. I think you have to imagine. Otherwise you can't. If you can't see where you're going, you'll never kind of get there or take the steps to get there. But we're really happy with the new record too, because our previous record was pretty dark, and it took off really well for us.
Yeah.
We had 3 number 1 singles and all kinds of good recognition and success from our peers.
I just love hearing this because it's like I've watched you guys for so long, and then when you come through and say I've had 3 number 1 singles, it's like hell yeah, man, you got it right.
Yeah, you used to come see us over at Cadillac Jacks with the Blue Note and stuff like that, doing cover songs. But our last album it was a good platform for us and really got us some good tours and good recognition. But when it came time to do this new album, we kind of looked at it like, well, where do we go from here? And that's where the whole Up thing came
Right.
from. It's titled Up, and we took a bit of a more positive approach. Like, okay, we've got all these things, all this angst and all these feelings out in the open off of our chest. Like, where do you go from here?
Right.
Are you going to wallow in that, or are you going to move forward?
Right.
And songs like Footsteps talks about taking wherever you're at and going forward, taking the next step to break out of that and get out of those dark places that you're in.
Look back over the last year. Give me 3 highlights from your touring in 2015. What were 3 things that really stood out?
Oh gosh, Download Festival.
Yeah.
Opening up for Kiss and Download Festival with like 250,000 people. Those European festivals are insane.
Yeah.
The release of the new album,
Yeah.
Which coincides with Pop Evil Day.
Yep.
You were a big part of
I had something to do with that.
the
Yeah.
original Pop Evil Day here in Muskegon, and
Sure.
then got named Pop Evil Day
Grand
again in
Rapids
Grand
too.
Rapids.
Yeah.
So that was huge. Yeah, I'm searching for a third thing, but there's so many good things that all just ran together.
It's got to be a blur.
Footsteps going number 1 was another great highlight, because we had sort of a format down, I guess, if you will, with the last album, where we had a lot of rock anthems on it, and this new album is a totally different style, different approach, some similar aspects, but in general, it's a lot different sounding, and a lot of people gave it their first listen and said, "Wow, this isn't what I'm used to."
Yeah.
So it was kind of a jump and a leap of faith for us to put a single out like that sounded completely different from anything else that we've done, and sort of getting the recognition of having that go to number 1 and go to number 1 so quickly. We're like, okay, we made the right choice.
You're doing great things in the music world. I mean, still to me, even though I've known you so long, and we've just been friends off camera and behind the scenes and all that. We've kind of maintained friendship and all that. But just to see the success for everybody in the band is just, it makes me proud, and I know it makes all of Muskegon proud too to see you guys have and you carry this over into a personal. You've taken some of this fame and you've put it toward a very personal and very, very interesting charity called Star Treatments. Let's talk about that. Is this your idea completely?
Yeah. It's not, a lot of people kind of think it's the band thing, but it's just something that I had the idea for years back.
Yeah.
I've always thought, coming up through the ranks, I wanted to get involved with some sort of charity or figure out a good thing to attach myself to, and nothing really fit, what I had in my head. And it kind of hit me one day after watching a family that I know sort of go through the struggle with their daughter going through cancer treatments and things like that. And I sort of said, all right, well, how can I take what I do on a daily basis and incorporate that with helping families like this? And came up with the idea for Star Treatments, which is where we take, tour buses that aren't on the road, offer incentives like write-offs for those companies to let us use those buses and keep them moving.
Yeah.
And go pick up kids and give them a star treatment on the way to get their treatments done. So
Is it just a quick ride there, or is this one of these things where you'll send the bus if they're going to need, say, 3 or 4 days of treatment in a place? Does the bus stay right there with them, or is it more of a daily outpatient type thing?
it's ideally it's like an outpatient type thing
Yeah.
where like we'll take them from point A to point B, and then that's it.
Yeah.
And if we can give them a ride back, we'll do that too. But it's day to day,
Yeah.
case by case scenario. The biggest thing for me right now with it is funding, of course, which
Sure.
I guess which would be with any charity. And we've done really well in our first year of getting the initial funds and being able to afford insurance and things like that. Things
People
that,
stop it. I mean, even these nonprofits like you're doing, people don't stop and think of the cost involved in something like getting a tour bus out on the road, even just to move it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's expensive.
and it's
It's worth it, but it's expensive.
yeah, there are ways around it to keep the costs down and things like that. The biggest thing that we're looking at is gas money
Right.
in most of these cases, or if the drivers don't want to donate their time, we pay the drivers for their time. But we're working on corporate sponsorships from to get gas cards from BP and places like that, and it all falls in like the more you do, the more that's available to
Yep.
you, and
Yep.
and it's all good. And 5-10 years from now, I would love to have this conversation with you again and say, listen, I've got a fleet of 30 buses and they're spread out at all these different hospitals across the country, and the only thing that those buses are dedicated to doing is going out every day, pick up a family, bring them back, pick up a family, another family,
Yep.
bring them back, and go drop people off and just move around.
Yeah.
That's where I want to be. But right now, I'm not at that position, but still trying to help.
How many kids have you helped so far?
There have been a handful, and to be honest with you, we've helped more by just donating than actually giving rides.
Sure.
We got involved with helping and working with some of these families a little bit, and then I kind of had a slap in the face and realized, like, listen, I got to do this the right way from the ground up. So a lot of my time has been, over this past year, has been spent researching insurance companies and getting quotes for this idea, which is a very abstract idea.
Life on the road.
And, yeah,
Everybody thinks it's all excitement and big parties and stuff, and you're busting your hump to get this charity
going
started.
through, reading through insurance policies, yeah. And it's not an easy thing to insure because number one, you're working with small, young kids and who are medically unstable
Yep.
as these companies see it, and then you're transporting them, so you've got non-owned auto insurance and like getting insurance. My insurance has to cover these buses
Yep.
and other things like that too. There's so many things that you wouldn't even think of that go
Yeah.
into that. So while I was sorting that out, we made a point to search out some of these GoFundMe pages and things like that. Kids that were in similar positions and needed help and needed transportation, we just donate offhand.
That's awesome.
To help some of these people out with the funds that we were gathering while we're waiting to get it up and rolling.
Sure. Amazing. I mean, to have known you as long as I have and watch you keep yourself centered, and I know you struggle on the road. I mean, it's a tough job. It's not easy to be on a bus town to town, day in, day out, but you still find time to give back, and I think that's one of the things that's all, in my mind, has always made you the rock star. You realize the gifts you've got, you appreciate where you've come from, and you give it back, and that's incredible, man.
Well, thanks, man. Yeah, and I've got.
Should we hug?
We can absolutely. I've got great people to look up to, like
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
You've been a great mentor to me since day one.
Yeah, you deserve it.
And I went through my phases early on in the band's career of partying and doing this and doing that, and to be honest, like I didn't know how long it was going to last.
Yeah.
I was used to working a factory job and playing out on the weekends and things like that. And when I started touring, I thought, like most people would, like, okay, how long is this really going to last before
Yeah.
I have to go back to a shop, back to a real job? And I tried to, I guess, soak that up as much as possible. And the longer it went on, the more damage I did to my body, the more
Dude.
damage I did to
You're telling me?
people around me. And I was like, listen,
This has got to change.
like things are still progressing and they're getting better. Like I need to look at this from a different angle. Like how do I keep this momentum going? Not
Yeah.
how do I use it up? while
Right,
it's here.
right.
How do I keep it moving?
Yeah.
And think about things as a business. So,
You've done great.
you know, like you've been sober how many years?
13.
13?
Dude, can you believe it?
That's awesome.
I
That's
can't
amazing.
believe it.
I hope I
It's a
can
good
say
thing.
that
Yeah,
at
you'll
some
get
point.
there. I guarantee you. You're over the hard stuff. I guarantee you that.
I'm just over 2 years myself, and it wasn't until I did that
Yeah.
that I would have been able to do this whole Star treatment.
And that's the thing, you realize how much time you have on your hands now that you're not drunk, right?
Yeah,
and it's a
exactly.
lot. I mean, because drinking takes up a lot of time.
Yeah, and that's what it was. It was a time filler.
Yeah, yeah.
When I'm on the road, you know, I've got 1 hour a day where I'm on stage playing. I've got maybe 2 hours a day where I'm doing interviews or you know,
Yep.
different things like that. A couple hours spread out throughout the day of doing random things, signing stuff, meet and greets.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a lot of time on your hands.
but there is a lot of downtime
Yeah.
and a lot of time away from home, and you know, just in one spot to where it's easy to fill that void with something like booze or
Mm-hmm.
you know, blank blank blank.
Yeah.
Fill in the blanks with whatever you want.
I have.
Yeah.
In the past, yeah, I've done that.
So
So, talk about next year for Pop Evil 2016. What are we going to see from you guys, from the band's perspective?
a ton of touring.
Really?
We're it's sort of the calm before the storm right now.
Is
We're
it?
taking 2 months basically off, stepping away from the markets, giving them a break so we're not, you know, overplaying places. And then festival season is going to be huge.
Big.
You know, like the biggest of our career so far.
Awesome.
Every major U.S. festival, you know, we've hit them from time to time. We're doing all of them this year,
Nice.
with the exception of maybe 1 or 2.
Wow.
So
Great. And that's kind of seems to be the way things are kind of going for shows. I mean, the big festivals and stuff like that. So, maximize your exposure, man. Get it where you can.
that's it.
If people want to know more about Star Treatments, where do they go?
StarTreatments.org.
ORG, and we'll put the link right here too.
Also, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, any stories you want to share, you can email me directly,
Whoa,
matt@startreatments.org.
perfect. How many rock stars give out their email address, dude? You're awesome.
Well, you know, I've got one specifically for that. If you start asking me questions about Pop Evil, I'm probably going to throw your email in the garbage.
Send it to the junk pile. That's it.
That's a charity based only. So
Awesome.
yep.
Good.
Thanks
Matt,
for having me
I'm
on,
proud of
man.
you, man. Thank you so much for all you do. Continue to represent us well, and we'll keep it right here on Positively Muskegon. Matt Dorito, everybody.